Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie Grace Spiffle Webbin.
I'm Bernard Hauk.
And today we are going to be playing Ys 2, the Ancient Ys Vanished.
Final chapter.
Yes. The Last Revenge, final Ys fantasy.
This time it's not Ys Part 1.
Before we get into that too much, so how was everybody's week?
I stayed home and played Animal Crossing and Pokemon.
And Ys.
And well, I played Ys this morning. I woke up at 5 a.m. to play Ys because I had been playing Animal Crossing and Pokemon instead. And Animal Crossing and Pokemon made me forget about everything going on in the world, and it felt good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
My week was similar. I played a lot of Animal Crossing. I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which, spoiler, it's really good.
Oh, good.
Funny thing is, that was only on Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I played it for about 14 hours, but anyway, so it wasn't really the whole week. Up until then, I don't know. I worked about 10 billion hours because my job is, like, super busy now, which is good. No financial worries there. And as I mentioned, all my friends were breaking up with each other, so I had to deal with that. Lots of, like, 1 or 2 hour long phone calls with a couple different people. Because they were all dating each other. So that's fun. So yeah, I was just exhausted and stressed all week. And then I played a lot of Animal Crossing, which is very calm and relaxing. And then I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is the opposite of calm and relaxing. And it was a great time. And yeah, I am very tired of not going outside. My last trip that was for real, like actually going somewhere, was on Tuesday. But my last trip at all was on Thursday night when I went to the grocery store. I've been inside since Thursday night, so yeah. Get used to it, folks.
I got outside today when I took Ken to the train, and then I have to go get my blood drawn later so that I can get my hormones.
Yeah, I need to do that too, actually. My current Moan amount is going to run out, I think, in 2 weeks or so, which I'm really excited because I want to up my dosage, but yeah, that means I have to go to the doctor, and I feel kind of weird about going to the doctor because it's like those doctors are doing some really important stuff right now, you know, and I'm like, do I really want to waste a doctor's time when they could be talking to someone about whether or not they have the Rona, and instead be like, hey, let's talk about my tits. But I'm still gonna do it. 'Cause I don't know. You gotta do upkeep. And if they're too busy, they'll say so. But yeah. Is that the only thing I need to go to the doctor for? Oh, right, and my whole mental health thing. I've been putting that off because of my mental health. So I think that'll catch 22. But yeah, pretty normal week, and I miss my friends. What about you, Eli?
I have been playing way too much Final Fantasy. I've been working from home. I accomplished something, which I'm not sure I'm not sure it's an accomplishment so much as it's proof that I have no life. But there's new ranking systems for this Ishgard restoration project, and the TLDR of it is everybody's crafting and gathering to help rebuild the broken down areas of Ishgard, which is a city in Final Fantasy XIV, and there are rankings, and the top 100 players get a special title for each different profession. And I was number 37 on my server for fishing, which meant I spent a lot of time pressing 2 buttons on a controller.
That's awesome. RPG needs fishing.
Yeah. So I'm a Beatus of the Firmament. Congratulations to me. I will never even try getting in the top 12. They get a title, the Saint of the Firmament, and I'm just not even gonna bother. Like, I felt bad enough that I spent so much time fishing to get into the top 100.
Yeah, I mean, surely there's 12 people out there in the entire wide, I'm assuming English-speaking world, because that's probably the server that you're on. Is it by server or global?
It's by server.
Yeah. Point is, no matter how many people are on the server, I'm sure there's at least 12 people out there who are just as much obsessive as you, but also don't have a job.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're going to beat those guys. Right?
Well, and I looked at the rankings, so I had like almost 60,000 points for fishing. The number 12 spot had several 100,000.
Christ.
Yeah. So they were well over the number of points, and I'm wondering how many of them were botters.
Oh, yeah.
And I was spending enough time fishing that I was like, I wonder if Square Enix is going to think I'm a bot. But they have a good anti-botting measure for fish, which is, after you've been fishing in a spot for a while, it'll say the fish sensed something amiss, you better try another spot. You have to move away.
The fish can tell you're using bots.
Yeah. Which I'm sure there are bots that can get around that. Don't go looking for them. Don't bot in multiplayer video games. If you want to cheat in a game, cheat in a single-player game.
Seriously.
I will cheat all day in The Sims. It's fine. It's The Sims. Nobody cares.
But, what about the integrity of the game? You can't call yourself a real gamer if you haven't...
Whatever. I don't fucking care.
Games are fake, y'all. They're not real. They made it up.
It's true. Everything is made up. Of star stuff. Anyway, let's get to talking about this game that I didn't pay enough attention to this week, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, this week, I'm just going to say up front, this week owns. This is my favorite week of this entire run so far. It's fucking dumb and weird and really, really cool. So yeah, Bernard, we're at Lamia Village, huh?
Ramia Village.
Ramia Village, cool.
With an R in my version.
Nice.
So yeah. We step into Ramia Village and the music is amazing. And
it's super good.
As you might expect, the people in town talk about how demons have been plaguing the town.
Oh no.
The demons are coming from Solomon Shrine.
Hey, that's where we're supposed to go.
Yeah. They keep coming to get sacrifices. And most recently, a young woman named Maria was taken. And everyone's very upset about this.
Maria.
Yes. At the gate to Solomon Shrine up to the north, a guard named Gorto tells you that he had a dream of two women who told him a red-haired swordsman would come and he should help him. He says that Seda, who is Maria's fiancé, went into the shrine to save her, and he's worried about him.
I also often dream of two women.
Yes. And do they tell you about to help a redhead?
Sometimes.
Gorto tells you to speak with Hadit before he'll let you into the shrine. Hadit turns out to be Seda's father, And Haddat gives you the Lila shell, which lets Adel communicate with him from afar. It is a cell phone.
Yeah, it rules. I mean, it doesn't do much, but I love the concept.
Yeah, I stepped out right outside Haddat's door and called him, and he was just like, "Could you please save Maria and my son?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess."
For me, I forgot it existed for a while, and then I remembered it did exist, and he gave me a certain line to help me, and I haven't gotten any other lines since because I wasn't using it before that part.
So we go and talk to Gorto, and he opens the gate. Beyond that is another gate guarded by demons. So we use the altar magic, and we tell them, this part is cute, I think, we tell them we defeated Adel, and they're like, "How the fuck did you defeat Adel?" And we show them Adel's equipment as proof.
Right? I love that. It's so good.
And they're like, "Oh, well, shit, you did it. Go to the eastern part of the shrine and report to Zava." So we go in, and just for the rest of this, if I say we talk to a demon, we're using the altar magic. There's a lot of demon talking in this, so I'm not going to say every time we use the altar magic.
So here's the deal with this dungeon, okay? At this point, like, the game isn't breaking its own rules. The game made a rule that said you can turn into a demon, and the other demons will talk to you and not fight because you're not Adel. And they don't break that. They don't all of a sudden just be like, "Oh yeah, now you can't do that because it's the final dungeon," or whatever. No, yeah, this is essentially the final... I mean, maybe they'll do it next week. This is essentially the first part of the final dungeon, and yeah, no, you can fight 0 enemies if you want. You just be transformed, and you walk around this enormous area. Absolutely enormous. It's about 4 large sections, not counting the 2 underground sections, by my count. No, it's 5 large sections. There's a central, and then west and east, and then more west and more east. Yeah, you just walk around talking to people and figuring out where to go, and it's just like you're in a giant office building. It rules.
Yeah, and the layout is very complex. There's multiple levels that you're walking on, and inside areas that...
Interior and exterior, yeah.
Yeah, they swerve around and take you all sorts of places. It is very complicated, but I like it.
Yeah. And again, you do not have to be fighting any enemies. Although later you might regret it, because then you'll be underleveled. But...
Yeah, I fought everyone.
Oh, no, yeah, no. I was just vibing. And also, again, talking to oodles and oodles and oodles of unique lines of dialogue, which was really, really cool. They all talk like they're in an office. They're just like what one character one demon literally says, like, "The meetings are so boring," and stuff like that.
I didn't talk to many enemies. A few I talked to were like, "Ah, man, I could really go for a roux right now." And another was like, "You look scrumptious." And I'm like, I don't want to be eaten, so I turned back into a human and killed them.
I didn't get any of those. There was one where I talked to someone and they said something like asshole-ish, so I also turned into a demon. It was like, you know what, fuck you.
So yeah, Shrine is very complex, but eventually we come to a gate, and the guard asks us for a pass, because there's an important meeting going on past the gate, so we need a pass to get through there. So we keep looking around, and eventually we find Zava's room, and there is a demon inside who is very strong if we try to fight it. But if we turn into a roux and talk to it, it tells us that Zava is in a conference right now discussing what to do about the intruder.
That's interesting. You actually sequence broke a little bit there. I mean, it didn't amount to much, but you did sequence break a little bit there, because if you talk to all the demons, you get a little more information, and they tell you to go to Zava's room, and they even say where it is. They say Zava's room is like, it's in the central it's in like the north central section, sort of westish here, and you kind of go this way to get there. So go to Zava's room and talk to him. But then when you get there, and the guy's like, no, he's actually not here. He's in the conference room right now. Although by that point I already had the pass, so they kind of give you the runaround, and that happens a few times.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, as we explore, we do eventually find another demon sitting at a desk, and the demon at the desk gives us a pass because we claim to have an urgent update about Adel. So we go back to the gate, and the guard lets us through because we have a pass, and we find a door, and when we inspect it, Adel says it sounds like things are getting nasty in there. So, if we both use the altar magic and equip the whisper earrings, we can hear what the demons are saying through the door. And the demons are all very shook up because it turns out that the sacrifices escaped and got the shrine key. And who knows what sort of trouble there will be if Adel got his hands on the shrine key. Luckily, he'll never get anywhere further in the shrine because he doesn't have the password, Mika. Since he doesn't have the password, Mika, and we're not going to let it out of this room, Adel will never get anywhere.
Yeah, it rules. Oh, I was gonna say. Oh yeah, regarding the pass, real quick. One of the enemies, if you're running around. So this is how I initially knew I needed a pass. One of the normal enemies in one of the areas says like, "Halt! You're not allowed in this sector without a pass." But then he says something like, "It's strictly forbidden. No one's ever allowed in this area without a pass." But hey, also the permit office is to the west of here, so go get a pass before I kill you. And they say that every time you talk to them.
And then Turtle Snake Man says he needs to see his supervisor to get a permit.
I was thinking about that so much. But I love how they're so strict. Like, imagine if real cops were like that. That'd be great, right? They'd be like, hey, you don't have the thing that you need. Or, hey, you did the bad thing. Go fix it. I'm not going to arrest you or give you a fine or anything.
Yeah. Sorry for making a reference to the video game that Maddie and I made that literally no one has played.
Yes.
So we head to the western side of the shrine, and we find a gate, and the guard asks us for a password. And we tell him the password, because we know the password. And he lets us in and says, the sacrificial humans have escaped and seem to be hiding in the subterranean canal. And if we find them, we must report it immediately. And if you're me, you turn into a human and kill the guy.
You're such a jerk. I was just going around having a good time with all these people.
No, I'm killing all the demons. They respawn. As we explore, we enter a small room with a door to the north, but a robed figure appears. And
this part rules.
My notes actually had an autocorrect, so it says a toned figure appears.
Dude's been hitting the gym.
Just this ripped dude appears, but no, it's a robed figure. And it is Dolls, who we've heard about in hushed tones from demons we've spoken to. He tells us that this is as far as we go and that we should take our leave. But he doesn't attack us. He just gives us this opportunity to leave on our own. We can't hurt him. If we try to hurt him, he hurts us instead very badly. So instead, we run past him to the door to the north, and he's like, you reject my offer. And he turns us into a demon. And it looks like a fucked up Roo.
So in yours, he didn't say he was going to do that?
Oh, he did. He said a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
I just didn't think it was particularly interesting. He was like, you'll live out the rest of your days as that which you've struggled against, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I thought it was he just very much straight up. He's like, if you try to go past here, I'll turn you into I'll transform you into a demon with my magic. And I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck you.
Oh, no, he doesn't say that. He doesn't warn us that that's going to happen if we go past him.
Oh, yeah, he straight up says, like, this is the thing I'm going to do. And I'm like, all right. And I go past him. I did save first. And then he's like, all right. And then he does it. And I made a separate save because I wasn't totally sure you were supposed to do that. But turns out you are. So.
Yes. So now we are a fucked up brew. If we try to call Hadit to be like, hey, we're a fucked up brew now, he can't understand us, and
I didn't even try that.
He suggests that we talk to Reg, not Legs, Reg. We may have met Reg in Ramia before. He's this old man who studied the shrine and supposedly knows a bit of the demon's language. So, before we do that, we can still explore the shrine if we want. Weirdly, we can't speak to the demons in this form. We just attack them and kill them. Though also they don't seem to aggro. They don't seem to recognize us as an enemy until we attack them. It's weird.
And also you're weak.
In my game, it seemed like I was normal strength.
Oh, in mine, you're pretty darn weak, and so it makes it... This part was pretty dangerous for a little bit. Not that dangerous, really. You just kind of avoid the enemies. But yeah, I wasn't really killing any enemies. I was making a beeline to not being like this anymore.
Huh. Well, I kept exploring the shrine because if you just continue down that passage that you were going through before you were so rudely turned into a fucked up brew, you find the subterranean canal. And we might stumble upon a door where a guy named Bots, who we might remember was talked about in Lance Village, he sees us, freaks out, and shuts the door. So that's all there really is left to explore in the shrine. So we use the return magic to go back to Ramia Village. And in Ramia Village, we find Reg and explain to him that we've been cursed. He tells us we'll need Priest Dabby's sacred cup to create holy water, which will turn us human. And we might have already found the cup in the shrine. You can get it before you leave and before you even see Doll.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised. Because there's a tiny little puzzle attached, and I wasn't able to figure it out, so yeah.
So, in the shrine, it's in a room with a small altar, and we have to use the light magic, which is Priest Dabby's magic, to make the cup appear. So we take the cup back to Reg, and Reg takes us down into the basement where there is a well, and he fills the cup with water from the well, and we drink it, and we turn human.
Yay.
Huzzah!
Also, we don't have that as an item, because I was thinking, what if the spooky robed man that we saw from the cutscenes earlier just uses it again? But you can use the item multiple times. It doesn't seem to do anything, but theoretically, you could use it again if he transformed you into a thing again. Mm-hmm. So, I like that little consistency there.
So now as a human, we can go back to the subterranean canal to where the escaped humans were hiding, and Bots is thrilled to see us. We apparently met him in Lance Village, but we, the player, probably don't remember him. One of the runaways tells us Maria was captured after they escaped, and another tells us that a demon named Keith told him that the passage to the goddess's palace can be opened by touching a goddess statue with something once owned by the goddesses. Lilia is also here, and she is overjoyed to see us. She is smitten with us, clearly. Lilia tells us that a demon named Keith freed them from the bell tower where they were being held and gave her the shrine key, which should be able to unlock any door in the shrine. She gives it to us. But before we can start totally making out, Dolls appears. And he thanks us for leading him to the runaways' hideout and fucking turns them all to stone just to fuck with us.
Rude.
So,
it's fucking cool.
It's really freaky. There's really good sound design in the Chronicles version for this part.
This part is also amazing in my version, and I'm gonna talk about it later.
Yeah, so, Dolls turns everyone to stone and leaves you alive, not stone, so that you can be sad about it. Although he's really just being a bad villain at this point because, of course, he leaves you alive, but you're going to fix everything and kill him because that's how this goes.
Yeah, come on, man.
He should have just turned you to stone. And turning us to stone would have worked because if we call Hadit, he says that the holy water won't work this time because the statue can't drink holy water because it's a statue. So what the fuck are we gonna do? So what we're gonna do right now is just explore with our new key, because maybe we can find some cool shit, and we do. We find the time magic, which freezes enemies in place, and we find the iron shield, which is a good shield.
Yeah. Although the freeze magic does drain your magic a lot quicker than everything else does, which is a shame.
I haven't even tried using it.
Who cares?
I'm a pro gamer, I don't need it. We also can enter a room with an empty chest and a lone demon. We talk to the demon, and it tells us that the goddess pendant has been moved to the subterranean canal to prevent Adel from finding it.
Oh, this is the one I killed, because he goes on and on in my version about how there's no way Ada will figure this out. Why would he possibly think it was going to be in the sewers? Ha! And then I'm like, hey, surprise, motherfucker.
So with the shrine key, we can find another entrance to the subterranean canal with even more to explore. Here we find very scary fire-breathing enemies. They, are not particularly hard to kill, but they shoot fire, and the fire just, goes everywhere and hurts you a lot, and it's very scary. But more importantly, we find a statue of a guy with a sword. If we call Hadat and describe it to him, he says it must be Seda, and we've got to find a way to lift the curse, which we were already going to do. Even more importantly, we find a silver pendant. If we happen to go back to town and talk to Reg, which I just randomly did this because I wanted to warp back to town to refill my health and stuff, which you can do by drinking from Reg's well. But I talked to him, and he was like, oh, holy shit, that's the silver pendant. That belonged to the goddesses and can grant access to the goddess's palace. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do that.
Cool.
So there is a big door in the center area of Solomon Shrine. And if we go through that to try and get to where we can go to the goddess's palace, we are first met with a boss, because that's how this game goes. And the boss is called Druagar, and it's very scary. It is a giant spider thing, and it jumps out of the wall. And Maddie, how did you find this giant spider boss?
Well, for a while I couldn't fight it because I was underleveled and doing the thing where it literally pings and does no damage, because I had been fighting no enemies this whole dungeon, which sucks. So I had to grind a bit, and a guide I was using, I did cave and start using a guide this time around, but I only caved, I did it because I actually got to the boss early. I got the boss right after I got the shrine key, but before I had found either the pendant or the shield. I didn't know if, I thought maybe I had to beat the boss first. So I was checking the guide to be like, am I doing something wrong? Is there a trick to it? I've been trying, but I really can't. And that's when the guy was like, oh, go get this other stuff first. So I thought, oh, maybe these things are necessary for me to beat the boss. Maybe the silver pendant allows me to hurt the boss. No. Turns out none of the guides for this game, this version of the game, TurboGrafx version, are any good. They're all really badly written guides. Sorry to the guide writers. So they don't tell you what level you have to be at to beat the boss or anything like that. There's no boss tips. They're just yeah, beat him. So anyway, I don't know. I just leveled up a bunch, which took forever. And then I shot him really fast, and he hit me a bunch, and I hit him a bunch, and then he died.
All right. Sounds like a good fight.
Yeah, I was not being smart. I was being fast and furious and just trying to get in there. But his health bar went down slightly faster than my health bar. It took me 4 tries, but they were all very quick tries.
Mm-hmm. It took me quite a few tries to get this boss. So it is running around the arena, sort of chasing you, as bosses tend to do. And it shoots out these, lightning orbs that, sort of home in on you. But if you dodge them right, they zoom past you. But also, it drops eggs, 4 or 5 at a time. And you can break the eggs, but if you don't break the eggs, they hatch. And instead of, cute baby animals coming out, bullets come out and shoot in all different directions and are very hard to dodge. So you're trying to dodge the boss's attacks, and destroy all the eggs, and shoot the boss. And it's a lot to juggle, but yeah. And this boss you can only hurt with fire magic. You cannot run into it, so I'm guessing literally all the bosses are going to be you have to shoot them with your gun.
Yeah. That seems likely. My boy Bumpy took a couple episodes to get through that boss.
Yeah, mine didn't have any of that complexity. Mine was so simple that all I could do was run at him and shoot him. So ironically, that looped around to make it was like harder, but also easier. Also, again, I may have been overleveled, so who knows?
Yeah. So after we beat Druagar, we go through the door at the end of this arena, and we find the goddess statue.
Yeah.
And the goddess statue says, just a moment.
Gotta do a goddess voice.
Oh, yes. Because, yes, it turns out these are the goddesses talking this time, not the priests, even though previously the priests spoke through the goddess statue. This time it appears to be the goddesses, so I'll have to do a goddess voice. Great warrior, you have braved...
Perfect.
Damn it.
Great warrior, you have braved many dangers to get here, but at last you have reached Solomon's Shrine. This statue can guide you to the heart of the shrine where we reside. If you've a pendant, place it upon your neck and touch the statue, and the path shall be open to you. There are 2 pendants to be found. A silver path lies before you, as does a path of gold.
Oh, mine didn't say that.
Well, mine did.
Hence my confusion.
Yes. So we put on the silver pendant, and we touch the statue, and we are warped to a new area. And what awaits us in this new area, we will find out next week. And this didn't go on very long, because, like in the last game, the last dungeon is really long, but, like, too long for one episode, but, like, yeah, if we split it into 2 episodes, it's going to be 2 short episodes, so you're getting 2 short episodes.
Yep.
That's extra episodes.
Which, like, is fine. Yeah, we're all chill about this. We're nice with it. That means at least it gives me time to talk a lot about honorable moments. Also, real quick, I just want to share some breaking news. It's not actually breaking news, but let's just say it is. My friend just sent me a tweet that was so good that I just had to share y'all. So the tweet is pretty funny. It's Family Guy funny moments. I simply like the phrase. It's just funny. That's all.
That's Hideki Naganuma, right?
This is Hideki Naganuma sharing this. And now Hideki Naganuma's profile pic is a picture of Peter Griffin.
Yeah, Hideki Naganuma is a big fan of Family Guy funny moments.
It was fucking funny. For those who forget, Hideki Naganuma is the composer of Jet Set Radio and, like, a lot of Splatoon and just lots
Hideki Naganuma didn't work on Splatoon.
I'm pretty sure that there's, like, 3 composers or 4, and one of them is Hideki Naganuma.
You're probably thinking that because Hideki Naganuma applied to work at Nintendo multiple times, and they never accepted him. And everybody was like, what? But Hideki Naganuma would be perfect for Splatoon.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, Splatoon was obviously very influenced by Hideki Naganuma. Hideki Naganuma also did a bunch of other Sega games that I forget which ones right now.
He did Sonic Rush, which is a bad game with good music.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But anyway, yeah, I just think that that's really funny. I like it when very famous people who I look up to are fucking stupid.
Yes. That's why you're such a fan of Hideo Kojima.
Oh, yes. Very, very much. So yeah, anyway, Family Guy funny moments.
Yes. So let's move on to our memorable Family Guy funny moments. So, what are y'all's memorable moments?
I'll go first because I have a couple, so I'll just share one or two of mine because I don't know. I found a lot to like this time around. Mostly translation related, but also there's a couple things I want to gush about technical as well. So there's this hilarious combo of NPC dialogue in Ramia Village. The same NPC says both of these lines. The goons don't attack us as long as we give them an occasional offering. However, the village population has decreased dramatically. Like, yeah, that'll happen when you're given offerings. And then the whole part where you kill Adel. Y'all already talked about that part, so there's that. These meetings always drag on. Okay, so when you open the gate, the guy he says like, "Hey, you can't get through without the gate," and Adel's like, "Here's the password." But then Adel kind of like goes on. He's like, "Here's the password," and he's like, "Now that I've given you the password, you have no reason to open the gate. Please open it immediately." And the guy's like, and the enemy demon goes, All right, keep your pants on. I'm opening it." One guy. Oh, I noticed there's a lot of empty rooms in this game. In this dungeon, and then when you finally go to the conference room, well, I guess we don't go into the conference room, but there's all these empty rooms, and it makes me think, oh, this must be like one of those offices where there's like multiple office rooms that are just like mostly empty or just have a table or something, and you rent them out, or like you like book your time, like, oh, we're going to be in the B office room at this time. So the meetings are just wherever. Seems very startup-y. So anyway, so this demon says, "There are many rooms, but they are without furniture. Where are we to sit?" And that's because, so like Bernard said that the permit guy was at a desk. No, for mine, they're all just standing in an empty room, which I think is great. Once you get turned into a goon, since I wasn't using a guide at this point, I did warp around to a lot of places. Also, I was like largely out of MP and HP, so I was like, how do I heal? So I go back to Lamia Village, and it doesn't let you go into the buildings. Or some of them are like, oh no, a goon. Everyone's got different dialogue when you're transformed, which is awesome. Different from when you're a different kind of goon. It's totally different. They say different things. So I go all the way back to the initial village, thinking maybe this will be a place I can heal my MP, which is harder to heal than HP. And the only screenshot I got of someone talking is one of the NPCs just goes, "Goon gangs!" when you talk to him.
All right,
and then, great. And then before I let someone else have a turn, one more. My game was actually a lot different in the plotting a little bit. When you're in the sewer, the part that Bernard was talking about happens, where you go into a room and you see a man, and he immediately turns tail and runs into the door. But then Bernard was saying that the guy was just like, you can't come and go away, and then you have to go and talk to the other guy to find out about the goblet and stuff. In this case, you get all this information from this guy. So he runs through the door, and he says, "Everyone," it's very dramatic. He's like, "Everyone, hold the door, push something against the door. There's a goon outside, we can't let him in." And then Adel says, and this has got to be one of the greatest lines of dialogue in the history of video games. Adel says, "Wait a second. I am a man. I was changed into a goon by the wizard." Capital W. So it's good. And then they give you the whole dialogue. He's like, "I don't believe you, but I guess if you really are a man changed into a goon by the wizard, you would want to change yourself back into a human. So you should go get the cup from the place, and then you should take it to the guy in the village." So this guy tells you all of this information through the door, and you're like, "Thanks." And then later you come back, and he actually responds. He says something like, "Oh, you were Adel all along. I'm glad that you're back to normal." Whereas if you die and forgot to save because you played for like half an hour without saving because you're me and you're dumb, and you do this all again, you can sequence break it and get transformed before you even talk to this guy, in which case he's like, "Oh, it's you, cool," and then he lets you in right away. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose they changed that because humans aren't supposed to speak the demon language. So bots shouldn't be able to understand you.
That's an inconsistency.
In this one, it is very dramatic. He has the push stuff against the door and everything. But if you go up to the door, it just says Adel tries to explain what happened, but they don't understand.
Also, in this one, it actually isn't clear that you're a demon. I didn't get a pic of the wizard's dialogue, but they don't ever say his name. He's just the wizard with a capital W. But
so he's a 1980s movie about Super Mario 3.
Yes, but no, they actually think you're not a demon. I forget what he says, but he says something different. He says like, "I'm going to turn you into a fucked up form," or something like that.
Those words exactly.
And yeah, it does seem
their one F-bomb in the entire game.
And it does seem like the people in this game, not just through the door, but in general, can talk to you, except that they don't want to because they're scared. So most of the time they're just like, eek, eek, eek. But a few of the people do have things to say about you, which is interesting. Kind of made me think of Space Funeral, actually, because, you lose your form. Also... I don't know how cute it is for y'all, but for mine, the graphics are really, really cute. So I'm going to upload. You look like a weird ghost, and your arms kind of go, woo, as you're walking, and I'm going to upload it so y'all can look at it. Anyway, what are some of y'all's memorable moments?
In this one, it's just a palette swap of your Rue form with fucked up colors.
That's not nearly as good.
That is cute. That does look sort of Space Funeral-y.
Yeah. It's even better in motion. You're just like this weird thing.
So, in Ramé Village, there is a graveyard, which is apparently the graveyard for the people who were sacrificed, even though an NPC tells you that, of course, they don't have the bodies, but they still put up graves for them. And you can read all the graves, and it's all, here lies someone, the something. And interestingly, one is Here Lies Keith, and I forget what the something is after Keith. I think it's like the Just or something. But yeah, there's someone named Keith buried there. Maybe that'll come back. I don't know.
Interesting.
Anyway, there are a few others, but this one I think is the only joke one, unless I just didn't get the jokes. But Here Lies Wiseau, the favored customer.
That doesn't even make any, they just wanted to reference a thing they like for no reason. There's not even a connection.
Yeah.
I laughed.
But I will say, I do like the room.
So do I.
Yeah.
They should have said, "Here lies Tommy." Then it would have been very subtle.
Would it have been?
Or "Here lies Johnny."
Johnny, yeah.
Well, a lot of people wouldn't have even recognized it as a joke. They would have just been like, "Oh, the shopkeeper really liked Johnny. Nice."
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the shopkeeper in this town is hot.
Really hot. And
Yep.
she sells real good stuff that's real expensive.
Yeah. So whenever you leave the shrine, you, of course, are using the return magic to go back to the village to either get transformed back into a human or just to buy better equipment or something. But anyway, when you use the altar magic to go back into the shrine to get past the guards again, one of the guards says, "Ah, it's you again. You're an awfully busy little chap, aren't you? Wait, how come you need to get back in when I never saw you come out? You should be in there already. Maybe I was just distracted. I hope Lord Dolls doesn't find out."
That rules.
I thought that was cute. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had that you didn't already cover. Yeah. I like this game a lot.
Yeah. What about you, Eli?
I don't have anything that hasn't already been said.
Sorry, I might have covered all of them there. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I took a lot of screenshots. Also, if anyone wants to play this game, you should totally. I know that their version is cool, but you should play my version. The graphics are so fucking cool. I didn't get any screenshots this time around, but this dungeon is absolutely gorgeous. All the different levels, there's all sorts of different like brick colors, and there's water in some parts, and the height differentials are so cool looking. It's just an aesthetic masterpiece, this whole dungeon. I really enjoyed being in it, and the music rules. But anyway, the final thing I want to talk about is some of the technical things they did here. So I think I told you all earlier, I know I told you all earlier, this game has voice acting for me. And so far, the voice acting has happened in two ways. There's just been straight up cutscenes where the full screen is a cutscene. And there's been like the cutscene that y'all were talking about, or that y'all saw as well, where like the lady's face appears in the full screen. So it's just still a cutscene, but the lady's face appears and it talks, right? But in this part of it, and maybe this did happen, and Bernard just didn't talk about it, but for me, when you get to the room with all the prisoners in it who escaped, this part is voiced for me, and it's but it's done using a different style from before. Sorry, and then another style that it has used was earlier when you were in the fire zone and you talked through the wall. That was just all you were seeing on the screen was just sprites. Your sprite was just standing in front of the wall with nothing, moving. It was like kind of frozen while the voice clip was playing. So those are the two styles. But now the game's got a new style. Whenever you talk to the girl in the room, you still see the sprites and everything on the screen, but then overlaid on top of that, on the right side, sort of VN style, like on just the right half of the screen, is the girl. And she's talking with full voice acting, while again the sprites are still on the screen. And the funny thing is, you're frozen in place, but the other NPCs are just like ambling around like they always do, which is cute. So she says her voice lines, and then it switches to normal dialogue, and then she gives you the thingy. And then the next thing is, the screen is again frozen in place. Not frozen, but just like the screen, you can't control your character. Movement is turned off. And Dolls doesn't appear, but he just has a big booming villainous voice that you hear coming from nowhere. And then when you see everyone turn into stone after... Oh, wait, no. The girl's face is still VN style on the screen. So it's really dramatic. Like, you're still in this cutscene, and all of a sudden Dahl's voice appears. And then as soon as he says, haha, let's see what happens when I turn them all to stone, and he says it very dramatically with good voice acting, you see the large full-screen sized portrait of the girl turn to stone. And at the same time, those NPCs that have been ambling around the entire cutscene all turn to stone at the same time. It's so dramatic. Like... It, made me upset. It made me actually upset. I was like, wow, fuck this guy. He's bad. I didn't think he's being a very stupid villain at this point, but, whatever. You just say it's because you're wearing the whatever thing. It makes you immune to stone. Who knows? But, yeah, it ruled.
Yeah, in this version, when you are talking to an important character, it has the big portrait of them on the right side of the screen.
Oh, it always does that. Cool. For me, it's the first time it did it.
Yeah, and the portrait does go away when Dolls appears to turn people to stone. But you can go up to Lilia again, and when you try to talk to her, a big portrait of her turned to stone appears, and
nice.
It's sad.
Yeah. It's just, it's good shit. I think that is it for me. Yeah. But yeah, it's just good. Oh, also, this game's start to sewer is really long.
It is.
Took like 3/4 of the game before we had to go into a sewer. So good job, game.
Mm-hmm. It's not a sewer; it's a subterranean canal.
That's true. It's a look, sewer level. Honestly, sewer level isn't even about the aesthetic. It's about the design. What makes a sewer level is that you have wide paths, but there's water in the middle. So there's a left and a right path. So having like pairs of left and right paths that are always having bridges, except maybe you're not sure if you're on the left or the right. So and then you go around a corner and you can't cross from one to the other because the way that corners work with sewer systems, that really is the mark of a sewer dungeon.
Yeah.
And it definitely has that.
It does. So, yes, next week, which I think last week we didn't say where we're going to.
No, I totally forgot.
But that will be in the description of the episode. So, next week we are beating the game.
Beating this game.
Yes, hopefully, unless the final boss is too hard. So, yeah. Someone sign us off, because I'm not doing it.
Wait, hold on. Let's remind everyone that just to keep the hype train rolling. We're not voting on our next game because it's dangerous for people to go and vote because of the coronavirus. So stay indoors. Don't go vote for our next game. It's Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have done that bit last week, but I just thought of it. Yeah, it's Chrono Trigger. Get excited. Get working on getting a version of it. Go to last week's episode if you want to hear my hollering about which version to get. It's the SNES version. But yeah, do that. Also, after next week's episode of East and the next week's episode of Movie, not only will we be starting Chrono Trigger, but also Sam will be returning to us. So get excited for the return of Sam. If you hate Sam, then don't get excited about the return of Sam. But do get excited about Chrono Trigger.
You should like Sam.
Yeah,
Sam's
no, if
nice.
you don't like Sam, what's wrong with you? Sam's a complete sweetheart.
He is.
Even though he's wrong about some things like Grant Kirkhope. That's it. That's the only thing he's wrong about. All right. I'll do the sign off this time. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you like what you're hearing, you should check us out at rpgbook.club, which has links to our various things, such as Twitter and email, both of which are at rpgbookclub or rpgbookclub@gmail.com. If it says RPG Book Club, it's probably us. Our Ko-Fi is ko.fi/rpgbookclub. If you become a donor to us, I made sure to not say donator because Bernard's here. If you become a donor to us on Ko-Fi, you get some occasional bonus content, and most importantly, you get to vote on our next game when we haven't shut down polling locations, which is most of the time. Every game except for the one game a year that we don't do that. And also, if you donate to us, it pushes us towards stretch goals. So just a reminder as well that we've got a really, really big major stretch goal game coming up. I forget if it's been announced or not, but at some point pretty soon we'll be doing 2 games at once, which is pretty fun because of people giving us a good bit of cash, which was really, really cool, and we need it to buy video games. Yeah, so hit us up on those different things. Also hit us up at our Discord, link in the description of the episode, and also link in our rpgbook.club website. That is all of the important information. So next week we will be beating the entire game East 2. We hope you are playing along and will join us then. Yeah, this has been RPG Book Club, and I have been Maddie Grace Spiffle something else Webbin.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Bernard Hauk. No handle.
Toodaloo.
Goodbye.
Bye.